Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at the Keiki Āina Family Learning Center in Kalihi, ready to converse with the people who inform, inspire, and impact our daily lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus. So here we are in the Grand Palais.
In the Grand Palais, yes.
How did it get started?
It got started because there was an opportunity for us to work with some guests from England. And so they wanted an activity. But before that, we were carving boards and stones under a tent and sitting on gravel.
So they came forward.
They came forward.
A number of coincidences and
Yes.
serendipity moments. And you were able to build this.
Yes. Building a place for us to house our classes and to teach is important. But I also wanted to take the opportunity to teach ancestral knowledge
with
in
ohia.
building. With ohia, exactly.
And this is not pili grass.
On Molokai, we call it haveni. On Oʻahu, they call it lolu.
Isn't that interesting? Every island has their own significant
Exactly.
names. So
I bring with me my own vocabulary, my own
Yes.
knowledge, yes.
Which is really what this place is about, right? People gather and they bring who they are
Yes,
under one roof.
under one roof.
And if we look at the construction of the roof and the ceiling here, it's amazing. We had people participating in making them, right?
Yes, we had little children climbing, we had girls climbing, we had dads climbing, we had everybody working to build a hale.
It's a very special place.
It's a very special place.
Thank
Much
you.
aloha.
With us on Island Focus today is Kaiulani Odom with the Kōkua Kalihi Valley organization. Thank you for joining us, and you're an organization, association, community.
We're actually a federally qualified health center, and we started almost 46 years ago. We had one trailer, a doctor, a dentist, and I think maybe 4 outreach workers, and they went out into the community every day to make sure the community knew about the services they had to offer, but also to find out what the community needed. And what they found out was that the community needed a health center, so our ED got his church to sell part of their land in order to build our health center. And in fact, not many people know, but the very first Crater Festival was a fundraiser to fund the building of our first clinic.
We talked about this earlier. I think we were both there.
I was there.
In the late 70s.
And I often ask people in the room who was there, and there's not many that raise their
Yeah.
hands nowadays. Yeah.
So Kōkua Kalihi Valley is a place. It's a center. You also have spoken very specifically about how health affects families and communities.
Right, so we're our community health center, and we had one site. We now have 9 sites that encompass a 100-acre nature park where we do organic gardening and cooking and forestry and bring people up to get on the land. We have sewing programs. We have K-Vibe, our bike program. We have our wellness center. We have our clinic. We do everything from dental to behavioral health to WIC to medical.
You're so fortunate and blessed here in Kalihi Valley to have the space and also the community, the multicultural community everywhere in Hawaii. But some of the urban areas that couldn't create something like this. What might you suggest that they could do?
Well, when people think about Kalihi, some of the very first thoughts are, first and third largest public housing, high crime rate, lower socioeconomic rate. But in the midst of all this, what we choose to focus on are the resilience of our families, the culture of our families. What are the similarities that we all have together? And that's how we build community. My program specifically deals with food and how does food help make us healthier. And it's not just about blood glucose or losing weight. It's that our food connects us to our land, it connects us to our ancestors, it connects us to our culture, it connects us to our spirit, connects us to our next door neighbor. And when we aren't connected to these things anymore, where we don't care about our land, when we don't care about sharing stories or sharing food, our spirits are broken, our communities are broken. And so we look to the growing of food, the preparing of food, sharing of food. How do we bring a community together over food? And we have a lot of programs that do that. In fact, one of our mission statements talks about neighbors being neighborly to each other, and that's the truth. We try and create a space where everyone, all different ethnicities, all different from types, can come and they can feel welcome, they can feel safe, so then they can work on their health from the inside out.
I remember growing up in Kaiulani when the auntie next door made extra cake, or extra spaghetti, and my parents were working, she would bring it over to us. This is sort of what you're talking about, sharing.
Sharing, yes. And then not just the sharing of food, but the sharing of knowledge and the sharing of stories that whether you're Micronesian or Samoan or Hawaiian or Filipino, when you see a kalo plant, you know in your culture that you had some of these different plants, whether they be food plants or medicinal plants, and you can sit down and you can talk about how they were shared, how they were grown, what are the stories from your background, from your culture, and in doing that we can build bridges, we can build bonds with each other over our commonalities.
So are you planning another concert soon?
That
would be a way to bring people together.
Fundraiser. Yeah, we do have a fundraiser, especially for Āina, and we are an organization that is a federally qualified health clinic, but because we offer so many unique programs, we also run on 60 to 70 grants a year, and so we are always looking for ways to find and to fund our innovative programs.
Well, mahalo for taking the time to share with us the importance of food and family and connections and relationships. Thank you. We've been conversing with Kaiulani Odom with Kōkua, Kalihi Valley. Thank you for joining us. I'm here at Keiki Āina with David Miyashiro with Hawaii Kids Can. I love that title.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Tell us a little more about this organization that you have. I am not familiar with it.
Yeah, so it's actually been a bit of a full circle experience for me. So I grew up here, had the privilege to go away for college on the mainland, on the East Coast, and came back through the Teach for America program. And I was teaching special education in a Title I public school here in Hawaii. And I loved it until I had the experience of being a teacher during Furlough Fridays, which opened my eyes that you can be a great educator and you can pour your heart and soul into this work, but if the policy is bad or if there are these disputes at the systems level, ultimately the kids are the ones who lose out. So I feel like I went on this whole other career path where I went to Washington, D.C., learned about public policy, worked in campaigns in the U.S. Senate, and then finally came back a couple of years ago to set down my roots. And this opportunity came about to really combine all of my experiences. So Hawaii Kids Can is kind of the realization of all of that, of all my hopes and dreams and those experiences I've had. And really we're trying to advocate for better outcomes for all kids. So that's kind of the high level of everything that we do. Within that, we approach it in 3 ways. So through community organizing, research, and then lastly, direct advocacy with our Board of Education and then the legislature.
I love the way that you have a very professional approach to this, of course, and
Thank
a
you.
very legitimate construct. But the title, Hawaii Kids Can, makes me smile.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that that component also keeps you energized.
It does, and I think that's something that all teachers, that really fuels them, is this idea that no matter who the kid is, what their background, if they're living in poverty, if they're kids like mine who were in special education classes, that they have something to say and they deserve a seat at the table. And so that's really what this work is all about. And as I mentioned, we do community organizing. One of the early programs we're working on is trying to build a cohort of student advocates. And these are kids who maybe they would be passed over 9 times out of 10 by student council or student government, but
They're not the traditional
No,
leaders,
not traditional.
but they're
Maybe-
leaders in their own way.
Exactly. Maybe their grades aren't great, but they've been through real life and they understand what it's like to be a kid who's overlooked. So those are the kind of kids we're looking to find, and we feel that if we empower them with the tools and resources, that they can be the ones who are speaking up and being the leaders into the future.
You know what touches me deeply is that some of those kids don't know they're overlooked, either at home or in school. And so when you look for them or you recruit them, What are some of the characteristics that stand out for you?
Absolutely. We want to make sure that they're in this for the right reason. So, we ask them simple questions when they apply. What is it about this program that gets you excited? And one of our applicants, a young woman, she wrote back to us and said, I'm a high school student at Farrington. I don't like the things that I hear in terms of the stereotypes about Farrington or my community, and I want to be part of the change. I want to show people that, any kid can step up and make a difference in the world. And, those are the kinds of kids that have the right values to us.
Well, I can tell you get up in the morning and you're excited to do what you do. Parting thoughts for our audience.
I think I would just encourage folks to really think about who are the most underrepresented voices in our community, and how can I do a better job of elevating them. And so folks can go on to hawaiikidscan.org and look for ways to be involved. I mean, we're always looking for mentors for our students. We're looking for folks who can help connect us with the greater community to share more about this kind of work. But ultimately, I think if we empower and trust our kids with the right tools, then we just need to get out of the way and let them lead us.
And I totally concur. A young person has never disappointed me unless I didn't give them the right information.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very
and
much.
Good luck to you in
Thank
this
you.
organization. We've been talking with David Miyashiro with Hawaii Kids Can. Appreciate you being with us. You as well. Today on Island Focus, I have a real honor of speaking with Gifford Chang, who is the president of the Hawaii Chinese Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for the invitation. It's wonderful.
You're a new president.
I am. I began my term in May of this year, and it's been a really rewarding task since then. And the past several months have been remarkable for me.
I'm familiar with the Honolulu Chamber of Commerce, but the Chinese Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, it's obviously a Chinese Chamber of Commerce that started off many years ago, over 100 years ago. And initially was for Chinese people, but now we've grown further and improved towards opening it up to all ethnic people. But it's just a symbol of the Chinese people.
And so what is your mission and what does the Chamber do?
Well, the Chamber initially was to help a lot of immigrants that came from overseas. And it didn't have to be from China or Taiwan, but from other Asian countries, including Europe. And it's to help a lot of these people come in and see if they wanted to start a business and what were the elements and necessities required to start a business.
So that's business oriented.
Majorly. The Chamber, as anything else, is business oriented. We want to help people to begin business, grow their business, improve upon their business, as well as learn about the new ordinance, laws, state laws, county laws of what it is to operate their business.
And in addition, I'm sure that there's some cultural education that you give as well.
We do. That's like our secondary mission. And it's only because we're Asian, and it's only because it's the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. And so it's important that as we move into the next century, that we educate everyone today about our culture. And it's important that we continue that culture because history plays a big role in a lot of Asian people.
And definitely the connection between Hawaii and China has always been strong.
It's been Hawaii, China, and Taiwan. We wouldn't want to leave out Taiwan as a wonderful country too. But even for me as an overseas Chinese American, I forgot a lot about my culture, a lot about history. But being that I'm the Chinese Chamber president this year, I've had to read up a lot about history.
How exciting for you to be in this position and to be willing to learn so much. In Hawaii, all I really know about the Chinese culture, even though my grandfather is Chinese New Year.
Yeah, Chinese New Year is very important. In fact, there's like 5 festivals. So back to the culture portion, 5 festivals, which is the Spring Festival, and that entails our Lunar New Year. Then there's also Lantern Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival, where you have your moon cakes, Dragon Boat Festival, And finally, there's a thing called Qingming, which is the tomb festival where you remember your memorial ancestors.
How interesting. And how are you in the community educating non-Chinese as well?
Well, that's the good thing about Chinese Chamber. We've opened it up to non-Chinese people, which is great. And that diversity and mixture is all about what's Hawaii, our mixture of melting pot. What is important about that is it's allowed us to educate both ways, their culture, their beliefs, integrated with the Asian belief and culture.
What is one idea or one project or something that you're looking forward to?
We look forward every year. What's special to the Chinese Chamber is what we call our Narcissus Festival.
Oh, yes.
For the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, we've added number 6, which is the Narcissus Festival. And that's where we select our ambassador, our queen and court. They represent the Chinese Chamber in many functions that we do, locally as well as overseas and internationally.
Well, I love the Chinese styles, so I'm thanking you for adding that to your festival.
It's important.
And so I want to thank you very much for taking the time to be with us and educate us also about the Chamber. And you're going to offer us invitation, right, to become members?
Absolutely. Every member is important. And our mission is to make sure that everyone is involved in some organization that they like.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
We've been chatting with Gifford Chang, who is the president of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce here in Hawaii. Thank you. This taro lo'i is very important to the program and to this location.
Yes, it's very important. What was here before was just a piece of land, but when Momi was here, there was water that was coming out of the hillside, and said, why not turn it into a lo'i? With Momi, everything's possible.
Yeah.
And so the conditions were not at its best, but like our ancestors did, is that you don't complain about it, you make it work.
So when we look at this lo'i, and they look like small taro, are they ready for harvesting, or?
They are a little late for harvesting, but they are certainly in the harvesting stage, and they will be good.
And the lo'is are the places also where families work together?
Yes, the families come here with staff, and they taught about the different kinds of taros. There were 5 different varieties of taro in here. Youngsters get a chance to play in the mud, and then we say to moms, leave them alone because it is my class.
Taro is very significant.
Taro is very significant.
Culture.
Taro tells us about our past, or where we come from. And it's so nice a story that in the Hawaiian creation is that we were smart enough to make sure there was food before the nation comes.
Well, you know, it's hand in hand, right? Food and wellness and family.
That's right, exactly.
What a precious place to have it here in Kalihi Valley.
It's a wonderful place to have it. It is an oasis for many families.
I have the pleasure of speaking today with Pauoa Montgomery, who is an alumna with the Teach for America program. So lovely to meet you.
Yes, mahalo for having me here.
Tell us a little bit about your experiences. You know, we know about Teach for America as a post-college opportunity to go into disadvantaged communities, but it's a lot more for you.
Absolutely. So Teach for America is an awesome, diverse network of leaders who are passionate about educational equity and fighting for that in whatever way that means for them. So we start off as teachers, and then we go out into different fields and we try and make a difference to create opportunities that are equal and that are awesome for all of our keiki here, whether it's through education, through business, through government. So that's what Teach for America is.
So as a Kamehameha graduate,
Yes.
and Keiki Āina, right, child of Hawaii, did you always want to be a teacher?
As a native Hawaiian, I knew that I wanted to be a leader. And to me, that's what teaching is. It's about being a leader, it's about being a role model. And also, as the oldest of 4 girls, I knew that that's what I was for my family, and that's what I wanted to be for my community also.
So how does Teach for America find such enthusiastic, wonderful young leaders as yourself?
So Teach for America does do an awesome job of recruiting people who are passionate, who are excited about who they are as people, and excited about kind of carrying out their responsibilities to make a difference in this world and in their own homes as well. And so
So did you major in education and then they went to find you, or?
So what happened is, yes, they did recruiting. So I actually went to Harvard University, and they recruit very heavily there for Teach for America. But they were specifically looking for people to come to the Hawaii region who are from Hawaii. And so that's what excited me. And at the time, I was majoring in government, but I had also founded a youth leadership program, teaching high school students how to become leaders through social entrepreneurship. So basically, we developed who they were as leaders individually, who they could be as leaders collectively, and then they went out and they identified issues in their community and came up with super cool solutions to them. So that's what I did that helped introduce me to TFA.
Yes, and everything you say resonates with my heart, leadership and youth, and I find it very interesting that you equate education and leadership. What did you find when you went into the schools?
So I was placed in Waianae. I was teaching at Lehoku Elementary, and it was definitely an eye-opening experience for me, and I saw that there were students who were in need of having their potential recognized. And that's what I strived to do, was to affirm my students in their identity, to recognize the potential in them, and to motivate them to go out and maximize that potential. So I saw that need of that affirmation that I am valuable and I can do something in my community, no matter where I'm from.
And even though you had a classroom, I'm sure you had an impact on the school.
I hope so. I was not only involved as a teacher, as a special education teacher, but I was also a club advisor. I was the cheerleading coach. So I mean, that's another thing that the Teach for America core members are always so excited to get so involved in the schools outside of just being a teacher, and that's what I love about our work.
Well, I imagine the children there just adored you because you're not only enthusiastic, but you're also closer in age to them than the teaching staff.
Yes, that was definitely, a benefit and a challenge at the same time. They wanted to be friends, or but it was awesome. Building relationships, I found out, was also very crucial, and that's what I strived to do with everybody there, the teachers, the students. I was also the May Day coordinator, so I choreographed all the hula, and they just loved that, to dance alongside them. So to be with them and not just teaching at them.
Well, your enthusiasm is contagious, and I want to really thank you for your work that you continue to do with Teach for America and also with our public school system.
Thank you so much, Mom.
We've been chatting with Pauoa Montgomery, who is an alumna with the Teach for America program. Thank you for listening, and so wonderful to meet you. I'm here at Keiki Āina Family Learning Center with Quinn Vidham, who is the co-founder and executive director of Reuse Hawaii. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Lyla. I really appreciate it.
I've known you for several years, and I have to say I'm so proud of what your company and you have accomplished. Maybe you can share with the audience a little bit more about what it is you do.
Sure, yeah, thank you. So Reuse Hawaii is a nonprofit organization, and we work to keep building materials out of the landfill. In Hawaii, we produce 600,000 tons of construction debris statewide every year. It's about 30% of our overall waste stream. So it's really important to think about those resources and keep them out of the landfill so that we can make community resources out of it.
So when you say construction debris, what does that mean?
Well, for example, on Oʻahu alone, every year 400 houses get demolished. So they typically would use a hydraulic excavator and smash the building down and send it to the landfill. So what Reuse Hawaii's done is started a deconstruction program. We're 10 years in already, and we do right now about 30 houses a year, deconstructing them in the opposite order that they're built, and we can save about 70% of the overall volume of the house. So all the doors and windows, plumbing, electrical fixtures, all the wallboard, all the lumber can all be reused. So we process it, send it down to our warehouse in Kaka'ako, and the warehouse is open to the public. Folks can come in and buy the material and repurpose it.
So when you say deconstructing, again, in the reverse order, what does it look like?
So we usually send like on a residential house. We do commercial projects as well, but on the houses it's usually a 3 to 4 person crew, and they spend about 2.5 weeks. So they look at how is the place built, so everything that was put in last they take out first, like trim and light fixtures. Then they get up on the roof and have to take the roofing off, and then the subroof and rafters and ceiling joists, and go on like that until the entire house is down. We even salvage the pier blocks and everything like that. So
Takes
lots
a lot of creativity. It must be kind of exciting for people to participate in that.
Definitely, it's really fun work, and it's a great way to learn about construction. We have a lot of younger folks that want to get into the field, and so deconstructing houses is a great way to learn building terminology, tool use. And
is it a volunteering or?
All of our deconstruction employees are paid, yeah, because it's 40 hours a week.
So they have to be trained as well.
Correct, yeah.
And so if the public would go to this warehouse and find all of these supplies, I guess, does their contractor pick them up, or do they get it, or how does
Actually,
it work?
homeowners are our biggest customer. It's just like a hardware store, but everything's salvaged and used. So there is some surplus material, but most of it's salvaged. Like for example, right now we have 200 doors from Ward Warehouse that we just salvaged because Ward Warehouse is getting redeveloped. So yeah, lots of great material. People love cabinets. Lumber's our biggest seller because some of the lumber that we salvage you can't buy on the new market. Right. So we salvage material that was milled, 50 years ago. It's just superior quality.
Well, what's been your biggest surprise in this profession?
Biggest surprise? I think some of the challenges in kind of breaking through and getting folks to kind of understand what we're trying to do and be better stewards of the environment and better stewards of the waste that we produce. Of course, in the 10 years we've come a long way, so it's been fantastic to see the headway, but we still have a lot more work to do. We deconstruct the 30 houses, but that's only 10% of everything that gets demolished. So we're hoping we get the word out and people can reuse material more. And so there's some awesome examples trying to inspire about what's possible there.
Well, you've been very inspirational. We appreciate all the work that you've done so far and wish you luck in the future.
Mahalo.
We've been chatting with Quinn Vidham, who is the co-founder and executive director of Reuse Hawaii. Thank you for being with us, and you as well. Mahalo to Keiki Āina Family Learning Centers for hosting us today, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other.